Nehemiah 12. These are the priests and Levites who went up with Zerubbabel son of Shealtiel and with Jeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amarias, Maluk, Hadis, Sekanias, Rehum, Mirmoth, Gon, Janitoi, Abijah, Mayamim, Medias, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joyarib, Jediah, Salu, Amokeh, Hilkiah, Jediah. These were the chief priests and their brethren in the days of Jeshua. And the Levites, Jeshua, Binnui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, Mattaniah, he and his brothers led the praises. And Bakbukias and Uni, his brothers, were opposite them in the guards. And Jeshua begot Jehoiakim, and Jehoiakim begot Eliashib, and Eliashib begot Jehoiada. And Jehoiada begot Jonathan, and Jonathan begot Jaddua. And in the days of Jehoiakim they were priests, heads of the fathers, of Sariah, Moriah, of Jeremiah, Hananiah. From Ezra, Meshullam, of Amarias, Joanna. From Maluki, Janatas, of Shebaniah, Joseph. From Haram, Adnah, from Meraioth, Helkai. From Iddo, Zechariah, from Gintam, Mesileo. From Abijah, Zikri, from Mayamim and from Moadiah, Piltai. From Bilgah, Samua, of Shemaiah, Jonathan. And from Joyarib, Mathani, of Jediah, Uzi. From Salai, Kalai, of Amokeh, Eber. From Hilkiah, Hashabiah, of Jediah, Nathaniel. Of the Levites, in the days of Eliashib, Jehoiada, Johanan, and Jaddua were enrolled as chief fathers, as well as the priests, until the reign of Darius the Persian. The sons of Levi were recorded as heads of fathers in the book of Chronicles until the days of Johanan son of Eliashib. So the leaders of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua the son of Kadmiel, and his brothers stood before them, to praise and give thanks, according to the commandment of David the man of God, guard against guard. Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon and Akub, were doorkeepers, who guarded the treasuries at the doors. These lived in the days of Jehoiakim the son of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, as also in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest the scribe. And at the dedication of the walls of Jerusalem they sought the Levites from all their places, to bring them, to make the dedication with joy, with praises and with singing, psalteries, cymbals and with harps. And so they gathered together the sons of the singers, both from the countryside of Jerusalem, and from the villages of Netophathi. And also from the house of Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba, and Asmaveth, for the singers built for themselves villages on the outskirts of Jerusalem. And the priests and the Levites purified themselves, and immediately they purified the people, the gates, and the wall. Then I brought up the princes of Judah upon the wall, and ordered 2 great choirs in procession, one on the right hand upon the wall on the side of the gate of the dunghill. And after him went Hosea, and half the princes of Judah, and Azariah, and Ezra, and Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, and Jeremiah. And of the sons of the priests, with trumpets, Zechariah the son of Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micaiah, the son of Zachar, the son of Asaph. And his brothers, Shemaiah, and Azareel, Malalai, Hilalai, Mai, Nathaniel, Judah and Anani, with the musical instruments of David, the man of God, and Ezra the scribe went before them. Going thus to the gate of the spring, in front of them, they went up the stairs of the city of David, where the ascent of the wall begins, from above the house of David, to the water gate, on the east side. And the second choir went ahead, and I followed, and half of the people were on the wall, from the tower of the ovens, to the broad wall. And from the gate of Ephraim they passed over the old gate, and the fish gate, and by the tower of Hananiel, and the tower of Meah, to the cattle gate, and they stopped at the prison door. Then both choirs stopped at the house of God, as also I, and half the magistrates with me. And the priests Eliakim, Maaseiah, Miniamim, Micaiah, Elioenai, Zechariah, and Hananiah, with trumpets. Also, Maaseiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzi, Johanan, Malchiah, Elam and Ezer, and the singers were heard, together with Jezreiah, their superintendent. And they offered great sacrifices on the same day and rejoiced, for God had made them glad with great joy, and even the women and children rejoiced, so that the joy of Jerusalem was heard far away. Also on the same day men were appointed over the chambers, over the treasuries, over the heave offerings, over the firstfruits, over the tithes, to gather into them, out of the fields of the cities, the parts of the law for the priests and for the Levites, for Judah was glad because of the priests and the Levites who were watching there. And he observed the precepts of his God, and those of purification, as well as the singers and doorkeepers, according to the commandment of David and his son Solomon. For in the days of David and Asaph, from ancient times, there were leaders of singers, and of songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. Therefore all Israel, in the days of Zerubbabel and in the days of Nehemiah, gave the singers and the doorkeepers their daily portions, and they sanctified the portions for the Levites, and the Levites sanctified them for the sons of Aaron. Nehemiah 13. On that day it was read in the book of Moses in the ears of the people, and it was found written in it that the Ammonites and the Moabites should never enter into the congregation of God, because they had not gone out to meet the children of Israel with bread and water, but they hired Balaam against them to curse them, but our God turned the curse into a blessing. So it came to pass, when they heard this law, that they separated from Israel the whole mixed element. Now before this, Eliashib, the priest, who presided over the chamber of the house of our God, had a relationship with Tobias. And he had made a large chamber for it, where the food offerings, the incense, the utensils, the tithes of the grain, the new wine and the oil, which were ordained for the Levites, singers and porters, as well as the heave offering for the priests. But during all this I was not in Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes king of Babylon I came to the king, but after a few days I again obtained permission from the king. And returning to Jerusalem, I understood the evil that Eliashib had done to Tobias, making him a chamber in the courts of the house of God, which really displeased me, so I threw all the furniture in Tobias's house outside the chamber. And when I commanded it, they purified the chambers, and I brought there again the utensils of the house of God, with the meat offerings and the incense. I also understood that the Levites' portions were not given to them, so that the Levites and the singers, who did the work, had fled each one to their own land. Then I contended with the magistrates, and said, Why is the house of God forsaken? But I gathered them together, and restored them to their station. Then all Judah brought tithes of grain, new wine, and oil into the barns. And I set as treasurers over the barns Shelemiah the priest, and Zadok the scribe, and Pedaiah, of the Levites, and with them Hanan the son of Zachar, the son of Mattaniah, because they were found faithful, and they were entrusted with distributing it to their brothers. Therefore, my God, remember me and do not take away the kindnesses that I have done to the house of my God and to his observances. In those days I saw in Judah those who treaded winepresses on the Sabbath and brought sheaves that they carried on their donkeys, as well as wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of cargo, which they brought to Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, and I protested against them on the day they sold supplies. There also lived in Jerusalem Tyrians who brought fish and all other merchandise, which they sold on the Sabbath to the children of Judah, and in Jerusalem. And I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, What evil is this that ye do, profaning the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers do this, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? And you add to the fierceness of his anger against Israel by profaning the Sabbath. So it came to pass that, having already shaded the gates of Jerusalem before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and I ordered them not to open them until after the Sabbath, and I set some of my servants at the gates, that no cargo should come in on the Sabbath day. Then the traders and sellers of all merchandise spent the night outside Jerusalem once or twice. So I protested against them, and said to them, Why do you spend the night in front of the wall? If you do it again, I will lay hands on you. From that time on they did not come on the Sabbath. He also told the Levites to purify themselves and come and guard the doors to keep the Sabbath holy. In this also, my God, remember me and forgive me according to the abundance of your loving kindness. I also saw in those days Jews who had married Ashdodite, Ammonite and Moabite women. And his sons spoke half Ashdodite, and could not speak Jewish except according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and beat some of them, and plucked out their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, Ye shall no more give your daughters to their sons, nor take their daughters any more either for your sons or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin in this, when there was no king like him among many nations, and he was loved by his God, and God made him king over all Israel? And yet the foreign women made him sin. And would we listen to you, to do all this great evil, transgressing against our God, marrying foreign women? Also one of the sons of Jehoiada, the son of Eliashib the high priest, was the son-in-law of Sanballat the Horonite, so I drove him away from me. Remember them, my God, for they defiled the priesthood, as well as the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. So I cleansed them from all foreigners, and appointed the offices of the priests and the Levites, each one in his work. As also for the offerings of firewood at appointed times, and for the firstfruits, remember me, my God, for good. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment.